The collision of Thompson and comedy. This is the collision of common sense and comedy. This is the Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip.
Quick programming note for you. Coming up the 22nd, Monday, December 22nd, 2014. Skip and I will be pinch hitting on the Glenn Beck National Radio Show. And then we'll fill in the next day as well, Tuesday the 23rd and Wednesday the 24th, leading up to the Christmas break. I remember it was earlier this year that we filled in on Glenn's program, and there was more information that had come out about the IRS targeting of Tea Party and conservative groups and the abuse of power and the investigation. And I remember us talking about the Department of Justice supposedly conducting an investigation that is non-existent, seemingly. So we went down the phone calls of just one after the other of about a half a dozen to a dozen people that were specifically targeted by the IRS. I don't mean people that just happened to go to a Tea Party group and then got audited. There's tons of those people. I mean people that were specifically targeted, that were cited. People like Justin Binnick Thomas, question 26.
No, absolutely. We had 7 or 8 all across the country, too, of all walks of life, different business owners, just regular people.
And what was our focus of that? What did we ask them when they went down? What was the main reason for having them on?
Has anybody talked to you about the investigation, about the IRS targeting? Has anybody with the Justice Department, with D.C., spoken to you about your involvement or you being targeted?
And emphatically, overwhelmingly, no. And my point was, listen, you're conducting an investigation. Any investigation starts with the victims. It starts with the crime. The point, ground zero of the crime. If your house is robbed, who do they talk to? They talk to you first because it's your house. You're the victim. They get information from the scene of the crime. And even though it had been years, the Department of Justice had never spoken to any of them, hadn't sent in an email, a text message, a carrier pigeon, a letter, nothing. Seemingly the Department of Justice didn't care. Does that seem unfair, that maybe they're still working behind the scenes? Well, I think we now know why. The Department of Justice was involved. New documents show the Department of Justice was involved, colluded with the IRS to subvert the rights of American citizens, to use the federal government, the tax dollars that these people pay to support and vote in the federal government, use this machine in D.C. against those people simply because they have a different political view, and we're trying to lessen their impact. The Department of Justice cannot spend enough time now, supposedly, standing up for the rights of individuals when somebody just says, hey, can you show me an ID and prove you're the person who's actually voting and you're only voting once? They cannot do enough. They cannot spend enough time being angry that somehow that is infringing people's rights. Yet, they colluded with the IRS. Eric Holder, who works for President Obama, Obama's Justice Department, actually helped facilitate the targeting of conservative and Tea Party groups. This is new documents just came out. A federal judge released these documents that prove Lois Lerner met with Department of Justice's Elections Crime Division a month before the 2010 elections.
The Department of Justice has a Elections Crime Division?
Oh, yeah. And you know what some of that's based on? Some of that it ties in with the Civil Rights Division. These go hand in hand. Oh, yeah.
You know, I understand they have, but I mean, what do they actually do now these days? I understand that it's, no surprise. For all we know, they have a painting division or random everything, but what is it that they do?
I think they commit election crimes.
That's what we're
seeing. You would think the Department of Justice would investigate and try to stop, but apparently when you say Department of Justice Elections Crime Division, it means they're committing elections crimes. Okay, we've got a division here that commits election crimes.
Yeah.
And we got a division over here that investigates civil rights complaints. But this commits election crimes.
Even within those own special things, we are our own Washington generals. Constantly, with all facets of D.C.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she met with them before the 2010 midterm elections. Now, you got to remember how this thing plays out. Let me refresh your memory on the timeline of this thing. Regardless of what other people will tell you, here's the timeline of how the Tea Party and the conservative groups, patriot groups, started popping up and started getting energized and involved. This was late 2008. After 8 years of outrageous overspending and misdeeds and not conservative values, a lot of people that supported George W. Bush start saying, okay, I have had enough. And the final straw was George W. Bush's TARP, the Troubled Asset Relief Program. This was the almost $1 trillion spending bill, the number they pulled out of thin air or some other place, simply because they wanted to stave off an economic collapse, they told us, which we're still not sure if it would have happened. So they simply pulled out almost $1 trillion, which, if you actually know what happened and where that money went, it was simply one final payoff for people, big companies that back Republican candidates. That's where the money ended up going, almost $1 trillion. So here it is, during the campaign, it's John McCain versus Barack Obama. And we're getting closer and closer to the election. And they're in the heated debates and flying all around the country and saying, vote for me and I'll set you free. And TARP comes out. And, there's going to be an economic collapse. So both of them, trying to appear like the true statesman and leader, rush back to D.C. And both of them overwhelmingly support TARP. They couldn't be there fast enough. Who will get there first to say, I support TARP and I'll save the country? That's what happened. A lot of us got ticked off, and the Tea Party group started popping up. This is well before President Obama got elected. And then, shortly after he got elected, then stimulus comes just months later. And this push for Obamacare, and the Tea Parties get more and more power because they're more and more frustrated. This is the time frame on it. As they start getting power, this would really be in early to mid-2009. Now you're a year from the midterm elections. This is when Lois Lerner and others, likely at the direction of somebody in the White House and possibly President Obama, started saying, okay, these people are too energized. They actually feared you. They were afraid. They knew that you would have power if you acted on it. So they said, we've got to do something. We've got to limit their power. And the way they did it was to sick the IRS on them, to slow down their getting a tax-exempt status, because that's how you really, when you get organized, get things done. You take donations, and that money has to fund mailers and campaigns and people knocking on doors and door hangers and commercials. You need the money. So they said, we'll go ahead and file for tax-exempt status, just like countless organizations that happen to be of a more progressive nature, like even Media Matters. So they filed for it. They said, I know, we'll do what people have done in the past. We'll sick the IRS on them. The midterm elections came, and what happened? Overwhelming rebuke of Democrat ideas. It was a Tea Party wave. They got really afraid then and said, we really need to go after these people, and went full bore because they were worried about the 2012 re-election of President Obama. That's the way this lays out. Lois Lerner then has a planted question when she realized this is going to explode in the media. At a meeting of attorneys, like a bar association meeting, where she's just speechifying, and somebody goes, yes, tell me about the IRS targeting of Tea Party scandals. No one had ever heard of it. I mean, we had, but nobody in the mainstream media. So she starts talking about it in order to kind of get it out there, control the narrative. Well, now new documents released from this federal judge show the Department of Justice, first of all, withheld over 800 pages of Lerner documents, of Lois Lerner documents, and they cited taxpayer privilege and taxpayer privacy.
Was it national security?
No, it was taxpayer security.
Oh, okay. Because they're so concerned with I can't even get it out.
So the Department of Justice documents show that Lois Lerner was talking to Department of Justice officials about prosecuting tax-exempt entities, specifically those Tea Party type groups. And this was 2 years before the IRS conceded that there was anything inappropriate going on. She was asking the Department of Justice if she could criminally prosecute these people. There's another little piece to it. She didn't call the meeting. The Department of Justice called the meeting. So, there was a meeting that we know about at the White House of the head of the union for a lot of the IRS workers. And this happened, was it?
It was March 31st of 2010 when Obama met with the IRS union boss, Colleen Kelly.
Okay, so late 2008, the Tea Parties first start popping up. Really gets full force 2009. We had that march on D.C. Do you remember? September 12th of 2009, how big that was down Pennsylvania Avenue. Damn, you wondered, you were like, how come they're not listening to us? Oh, they were. They just didn't do the right things. They said, let's target you for coming to D.C. Now we know, because this head of this union met with the White House just months after that. Remember, the big march on D.C. was September of 2009. She met March of 2010. And the day after, coincidentally, that she meets at the White House, the targeting begins. March of 2010. Lois Lerner was called the Department of Justice October of 2010, just months after this. She was called there, and according to, and a lot of these still have redacted information, just mean they black it all out. September 30th, 2010, an email from the Elections Crimes Prosecutor to Lois Lerner. Hi, Lois Lerner. Hi, Lois. It's been a long time, and you might not remember me. I've taken on redacted duties. I'm looking forward to meeting you. Can we chat in advance? I'm at redacted. Called the meeting, September. Lerner responded, sure, that's a good idea. I have a meeting out of the office Monday morning, but I'll try you when I get back sometime early afternoon. You can try me, and here's my phone number. So you can see the collusion. Wouldn't the IR or the Department of Justice at that point also be responsible for any crimes committed by an IRS agent?
I mean, they should be.
Shouldn't they be investigating it, right?
Absolutely at this point. I mean, I don't see why it's any different.
Documents from a Freedom of Information Act request lawsuit against the IRS show that Lerner asked the Department of Justice whether tax-exempt entities could be, in fact, criminally prosecuted.
Now, why would she even broach that sort of a question? I mean, her job there was working in the exempt divisions type people. So why is she caring about criminal prosecution of people like this? She doesn't work for the Justice Department. She works for the IRS.
Folks, there's a lot of things that I get wrong in my life. There's things Skip and I have gotten wrong on the air. More Skip than me, but
that's true.
It does happen from time to time. It happens. And we admit to things we've screwed up or gotten wrong. Years ago, before we even started with The Blaze, we were talking about the IRS targeting conservative groups, like Justin Vinnick Thomas, question 26, and we've had him on the air, and we've talked about these things. And I said, this is a huge story. No, nothing to see here from the federal government. And slowly, more and more comes out, more and more comes out. And early on, we speculated on what likely happened. And every couple of months, we get more information that shows we have been accurate. So far, nothing to dispute our early speculation. What happened? They were afraid of the Tea Party groups having power and influencing elections. Period. That was it. And they sicked the IRS on them to get rid of their tax-exempt status or not provide it or delay it in order to keep them from organizing more and more, thinking that the groups would just go away. It was a control mechanism, and it went to pretty high levels at the White House. We now know that. The Department of Justice information files show that this is likely what happened. Where is the prosecution? Now, do you think the Department of Justice is really conducting an investigation now? This is the Morning Blaze.
You're listening to the Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson and Skip Lacombe
on the Blaze Radio Network.
With Doc Thompson and Skip Lacombe on the Blaze Radio Network.
Hashtag what I learned today to get into the show. Closing, Johnny Mac tweeting, redacted is a favorite hangout for spot for government officials.
Oh, wow, you really? You know what?
Yeah.
We'll edit the entire thing. Yeah. Just start completely over again.
Hashtag what I learned today. Johnny Mac tweeting at us, redacted is a favorite hangout spot for government officials.
Where are you going this weekend?
Redacted.
Really? I was at Redacted last night.
Dude, I got so messed up at Redacted last weekend.
You know, it's not just a place. I also think it's an activity as well. You know what I did last night at Redacted?
What's that?
Redacted.
Oh, snap.
Redacted. Redacted. Redacted.
Mark also tweeting at us, hashtag what I learned today. There are no redactions. It was a lowly colorblind employee using a black highlighter instead of yellow. Thank you, Mark. You're probably right.
Taylor, Michigan. You know where Taylor is? Isn't that downriver?
Oh, yeah, I think so, actually.
Taylor's downriver from Detroit. Federal authorities say a Detroit area postal employee, Sharon Berrien, postal employee. Where do you think this is going, Skip? You know,
nowhere good, I'll tell you that.
You never get the story. A postal employee generously gave a kidney to a person on their postal route. It's always, they didn't deliver the mail, we're throwing the mail away. Yes, it's another one of those. She just dumped a bunch of letters along I-94 after removing any cash that were in any cards.
Well, you don't want to just throw that out, because, I mean, hey, it's legal tender, so it can't be like thrown out and destroyed. So she had to make sure that it was
is that
properly saved. If she's just throwing away those Christmas cards with money in them, she could be in trouble.
She's been charged with stealing mail while working at the Detroit Mail Processing Center. Investigators say she told them that the theft started last spring. She would go through any of the greeting cards for any cash that was in those. Grandma sends you $5 on your birthday, something like that. And they discovered her crimes when a bunch of mail was found along Pelham Road on Interstate 94 and given to the postmaster. The postmaster's like, let's track this down. This was November 28th. 800 pieces were found in her trash. 3 bags were inside a closet. She says she ended up keeping between $1,000 and $1,500. I didn't realize that many people mail cash.
Oh, I bet it's even more than that. I bet it's significantly. There's no way for them to know the exact number. I bet it is way more than that, actually. I bet she pocketed $10,000.
Wow.
I'm willing to bet all that cash is sent by old people.
And that's the thing, yeah, old people. I bet a lot of it was sent from overseas or other ways like that.
You're right. If you're going to target the letters, the ones that likely have cash in them, first of all, it's greeting cards, right? We know something like that. And then, Cal, to your point, old, I would guess any really old style of card, the scribbly old writing like a grandmother, hand not as steady as others.
Any name like Milford?
Oh, return names.
That's where they're...
Milford, Margaret,
Beatrice.
Martha, Beatrice.
Beatrice, yes.
Bertha.
Depending on, you get the little stickers, like the return stickers.
Anyone that has a sticker is going to probably be one.
Absolutely.
Specialty stamps.
Yes.
Right? Because young people aren't even sending stuff, let alone specialty ones.
No, my grandma and grandpa have like one of the little printer type things that it's their dog on it. Every time I get a letter from grandma, it's got a picture of a pilgrim there too.
Oh yeah, they care about stamps. You know, stamps are the cheap ones. I'm still using Forever stamps from 8 years ago. I stocked up on those bitches. I'm serious. I'm like, any way I could spend less. So, yeah, it's probably pretty obvious to tell who has cash in the cards.
And by the way, she got way more than $1,200, though. I guarantee it.
Wait a minute. You think a postal employee would lie on top of stealing?
Yes!
You're listening to The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson and Skip Lacombe
on the Blaze Radio Network. Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network.
Workers at the Massachusetts state capitol had to repair a water leak. And as part of that process, they had to dig up part of the foundation. While digging up the foundation, they found a time capsule that was inside a granite cornerstone. This was not uncommon when, back in the day, they don't do it so much anymore. When you lay the cornerstone of a building, often they would put some sort of memorial on it, a blessing, something. My parents founded a church in Ohio, and, their names and others or stuff are part of the cornerstone. I know about that. This was at the Massachusetts state capitol. I don't know if you know anything about Massachusetts. It has a long American history. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Massachusetts does?
Yeah. Big in the Revolution and whatnot, being one of the 13 original colonies and that. So
in Massachusetts?
Yes. They find this time capsule in the granite cornerstone of the State House. It was a time capsule buried by Samuel Adams and Paul Revere in 1795.
I didn't know he'd been making beer for that long.
No, not he. Not the beer. It's the Patriot back in the. Anyway.
Oh, that's Samuel Adams.
Can you imagine finding something? I mean, from Sam Adams and Paul Revere, any of the founding fathers, these historical names from that era. This is something they put there. And it's over 200 years old. That just blows me away.
It's incredible.
That's why I say, anytime anybody finds anything valuable, like, old coins, like recently we had some from the Roman Empire, remember somebody found?
They found like thousands of the coins, didn't they? Yeah.
It was amazing because they have value, and it's like, hey, I'm suddenly wealthy. That's cool. I can sell these. That's cool. But the historical aspect of it is just, I don't know, just so intoxicating to me, above and beyond the whole monetary aspect. Based on records, they think the time capsule has coins, newspapers, and other artifacts in it. That's what they think is in it. Coins, newspapers, and other artifacts. That's what they think is in it. They did unearth this thing in 1855, which would have been 60 years or so later when they were doing some work, but they didn't bother it. They just left it there. So now this time capsule has been taken for x-rays. They're going to x-ray it to see what is likely in it. But those records are sketchy. The old coins, newspapers, and other artifacts. They don't know what that is. It could be anything. The records could be wrong. Those things couldn't be in it. There could be anything else in it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what is actually in there? There could be, virtually anything actually in there. I mean, if they, like you said, the records could be possibly wrong. The coins, value, who knows?
I just love thinking about that stuff. I just am amazed to think that they would bury something like that, and there it is.
Have you ever taken part in any sort of a time capsule type thing?
You know why? Anytime that there was any official time capsule stuff, it was always like at your school, and it's always very sterile, and it's throwing just stuff that doesn't seem that important now. Maybe that's the whole point, that it doesn't seem important, and it does. I guess if I could put together one myself, I would try to put together things that are more appropriate or something.
Okay,
like
but
that.
what would you even deem to that? Who knows what people would find in 200 years? Literally, no matter what we had opened from that time capsule from Paul
would
Revere,
be interesting.
It's going to be interesting. I think anybody 200 years from now who found, anything in this room right now that you and I are currently broadcasting in, pens, phones, the types of food, packaging of types, anything like that could potentially be interesting.
I feel like we save more stuff like that now. I feel like more of that stuff is automatically saved, so maybe it would be important years from now. I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you on that one, Skip.
What's that?
You said in 200 years, if someone found anything in the room, like a pen, it would be considered something amazing.
Oh, I think it would be.
Really? If you had a pen, if you have from 200 years ago?
Yes, if I had a quill pen from Paul Revere, you wouldn't find that interesting?
No, not. What you're talking about makes it interesting is who owned it. But you said, in your room in 200 years, if someone finds a big pen, it's going to be good Lord, I found it. The Holy Grail.
You give me a peasant's pen from a slave plantation or something,
but the thing
I'm going to
is,
find
the
that
pens from now, it's going to be like Bubba's House of Hair.
Exactly.
It's going to say Pete's Towing on it.
Don't you think that's going to be interesting in 200 years? It's like,
I guess.
Well, look at the consumerism they were so faced with back in the 2000s. Oh, I find that fascinating. I think
Skip is probably right. It's just hard for us to imagine that something so silly these promotions.
Look at Paul Revere and Sam Adams sitting down and saying, well, what the hell are they going to care about these coins?
The Paul Revere aspect, yes. But if you gave me what did they use 200 years ago that was normal?
Like a
quill pen from, the local pub, if it had the pub's name on it or something. Am I going to freak out over that? No.
See, I think you'd be pretty cool. Cal, let's just say it's a quill pen from the era. We dig up a time capsule. We don't know whose it is. It's 200 years ago. We know it's early American history, and there's a bunch of stuff in it. We don't know whose it is, but there's a couple of quill pens. You wouldn't at least find it interesting?
Not really.
Yes,
I mean, if there's a document with someone's information or a bill of sale or but what am I going to do with a quill pen?
You can sell it to Glenn.
Yeah, that does have some monetary value. I'm with Skip. I think it's interesting. But now when I think about it, I think everything we have now is so mass-produced and cheap plastic crap. I mean, back then, the stuff was handcrafted. Not everybody had pens. There were very few pens. Those things were expensive, but
all right, I'm going to bury my
mass-produced.
I have a Back to the Future keychain that holds my keys. I'm going to bury that in my yard, and I'm going to put a map. And I'm going to leave it somewhere. And in 200 years, someone's going to find a Back to the Future keychain. And they're going to be like, what is this nonsense?
Awesome.
What about your beer koozie? What about that? I don't think that's very impressive.
That's the other thing in 200 years, we have some of the most useless stuff.
Right.
If someone finds a chia pet or something, what is that?
Who knows where we're going to be in 200 years, though? I mean, how the world will be. I mean, maybe everything will all look completely the same, and we'll realize the need for colors on pens and stuff is pointless and ridiculous, and we should use our minds to... I mean, who knows where we're going to be? Of course, I think all that stuff would be potentially interesting.
Interesting, yeah. I just think the plastic, and look at all these. Cal's right. T-shirts with sayings on them. It's so silly.
For all we know, plastic is going to be completely banned by the world in 20 years.
Wait, you have a point there. That's true.
They
keep
going.
Have no
idea.
What is plastic made from?
Oils and stuff.
Right.
And I mean, it's bad. It doesn't break down the same. For all we know, you can't use any products that contain plastic after 2025. So to open up and say, oh my goodness, you're telling me in 2014 everything was made of plastic? No way. Ho ho, what's this? I think the possibilities are endless. I think it would be fascinating no matter what.
Unless it's like post-apocalyptic, where there's some sort of World War III, and then we're taking the little messages from pens as like some great inspirational thing, But
again, that's fascinating. Right. No matter what scenario you could lay out, I could say no matter what you put into a time capsule, in 200 years is going to be interesting.
A cereal box is coveted for its words of wisdom.
Truly,
people are quoting it.
Our great forefathers from Richie's Towing passed down this legacy of great words to us.
It was the great Toucan Sam who said, "Follow your nose." Therefore, we follow our nose once a year to honor him and his great words of wisdom.
You guys are being glib. I think it's amazing.
It was Lucky.
The great
Lucky the leprechaun.
Tricks, who says, tricks are for kids.
And what the great rabbit was saying was adults should be serious. Leave tomfoolery for children. Tricks are for kids.
Silly rabbit.
The lucky leprechaun said they're magically delicious.
The great bakers of toast of cinnamon crunchness.
So some of the stuff from our office, too, they'd pick up. Apparently some man named The Truth lived here.
He was a wise man.
They called him Blasé, The Truth, and he lived right here.
I don't understand why they would call him so blasé if he was the truth.
It seems quite amazing.
Something's obviously
People are never appreciated in their times. We will hold him up, Mr. Blasé, as the truth.
Yeah, I haven't done any official time capsule. I have when I renovate any house or put in a new wall or anything, new drywall. I always write something inside there.
The groundbreaking of a school that I was involved with. We one student, I can't remember how it was.
Reform school.
Sure, whatever. No, they did a groundbreaking. They did do a time capsule as one of the portions. I can't even remember for the life of me what we put in it, though.
Yeah, I'll write, date it when that was in, because, you see these things where people go and renovate house and they pull out a wall and they're like, oh, a guy who renovated this in 1940, whatever, and sometimes they want to track who it is. So I'll write something like that. And I've thought about, throwing like a couple of bills in, or like a quarter or something. So, maybe 300 years from now, people's like, a quarter from, 2001 or something. But you know why I don't?
Because it's money, man.
Because it's money, and it doesn't matter even if it's
You're
a penny.
already throwing money into the wall. Why are you going to put actual money into the wall?
I don't care if it's a penny.
I know what we can do. Okay, to donate to humanity of the future. Actually, this will probably save human civilization. Here's what we need to do. We need to print out the rules, frame them, and bury them. Because one day, a future civilization will find it.
I believe it was the deacon in the Church of the Morning Blase, Cal79, at Cal79, who once said, right? So you'd be like some sort of leader in this movement as well, Cal.
Just because you can does not mean you should. It's like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, in the future.
Right.
Be awesome to each other.
All right, quick break. Tell us what you've learned along the way, because it may end up, on somebody's wall, a great saying at some point in the future. They'll look back to you as being wise. Tell us what you've learned along the way via Twitter. The hashtag What I Learned Today. This is The Morning Blaze.
You're waking up to The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson and Skip Lacombe on the Blaze Radio Network. Feeding your brain with a constant stream of veracity. This is The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network.
Coming up right after the top of the hour, Skip the audio file. We'll run down some of the best audio from the day.
It's not the audio. Skip the audio file. It's Skip's audio file.
You have a problem with being called an audio file?
It's not what it's called.
You're a lover of audio. You're an audio file.
It's a little different though. It's when I was telling you we should start doing an audio file.
Hey, so the LOLs and the OMGs, and there is a whole laundry list of those things that I have no idea. The internet acronyms that I have no idea what. Do you know what 9 means or 99?
No.
Cal? 999, either one?
A number?
No, 9 means parent watching.
What?
This is something you need to know about.
Parent watching?
Parent, like you, mom and dad watching. Not a parent's watching.
Who watches parents? That doesn't make sense.
No, there's a parent watching me.
Yeah, so if I'm texting something like nefarious things that my parent wouldn't want me to do, parent watching, so don't text anything back to me.
I knew like POS used to be that, parent over shoulder or whatever people would
I always
say.
thought it meant piece of...
Well, yeah, that's a whole different...
And then 99 means parent gone. So 9 means parent watching.
I need to write this stuff down now. So I can figure out what my daughter's doing.
You definitely want IWSN. You want to commit that one to memory. IWSN, Cal. I want sex now.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, write that one down. She starts texting that one when she's a teenager. That's and Skip, you want to write that one down. That's skip@theblaze.com.
I thought I was so naive.
That could be it, too. GNOC.
Let's see.
Get naked on camera.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And NIFOC, naked in front of computer. Which, wouldn't that one be obvious? Wouldn't it be like, do you really have to send that message? Like, oh, there he is. He's naked in front of the computer.
Why do all these involve nudity?
I guess if you were just typing, though, too, you wouldn't necessarily know they were naked.
PIR, parent in room. CU46. CU46.
Oh, for sex. They're talking about sex there.
Ha-ha.
I'll see you for the sex.
Yeah. 53X. 53. What does a 53 look like? An S, backward E, sex.
Oh, I see. Wow.
1174. Party meeting place. 1174. Someone should open up a club called 1174.
How do people come up with these? How do these become part of the modern lexicon?
THOT. Thought. Ready? THOT. That hoe over there.
I'm going to have to write that one down. There have been times I could probably use that. THOT.
That hoe over there. CID is acid. just kind of a shortened 420. You know what that is? Marijuana. Broken is hungover from alcohol.
Hold on a second. So they have all these other ones like 1177, a brand new for meetup, but they still use 420 for weed. 420's been that for.
That's not really code anymore, is it?
You're going to be coding it anymore.
Coddle, K-O-T-L, kiss on the lips. L-M-I-R-L, let's meet in real life. Prawn, P-R-O-N, is porn. How did prawn become porn? What is
that's just been an internet slang, like a message board type thing for the longest
because
time.
It would ding porn if you try to type it in, but not prawn, probably. That's probably what it was.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, DOC. Doc.
Oh, what's that? That's going to be good. Is it for idiot?
No, it's drug of choice.
Well, a lot of people's drug of choice.
See, that's what I'm saying.
That makes sense.
TDTM, talk dirty to me. 8 is oral sex. CD9, parents around. Code 9, means same thing. All kinds of them. I'm going to go ahead and tweet a link to this next on The Morning Blaze.
The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network.
The collision of common sense and comedy.
This is the collision of common sense and comedy. This is the Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip.
Thanks so much for joining us. Coming up in about a half hour right now, your Friday leftovers. But first, we must get to, we'll get some tweets and then open up the Broadway studio line. 888-900-3393 for that.
Use the hashtag What I Learned Today, and that's how you get into the show closing. From not Jeff Fisher, but really, who doesn't WSN?
Want sex now.
Yeah,
nice.
That's it, Jeff. From Lars too, hashtag What I Learned Today. Okay, officially I'm feeling old now.
Why is that?
All these abbreviations and acronyms. I couldn't agree anymore. In fact, Brandon even has another acronym we should probably add to your list.
What is that?
Here's a new one, Doc. WAYITKSBWM.
You lost me like 2 in.
Why aren't you in this king-size bed with me?
See, that could save you a lot of texting, a lot of typing. And
serious.
Now Cal will know what that stands for when you send him pictures wondering why he isn't in his king-size bed.
That was one time.
That I know of. That I caught you.
It was one time.
It's okay. It's not a problem, though. It's all right.
I got one I'd like to add.
Yeah, what do you have?
GTFAFMD.
I don't know what that is.
Get the F away from my daughter.
With your IWSN, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Cal, there may be a more effective way to communicate that.
Just punch him in the face?
That could be it. That would be really, really effective, I think.
Or practice cleaning your guns.
I told you about the buddy of mine who used to clean the deer when the guys would come over. He was a deer hunter, and he would hang them up in the garage and open up the front garage door as the guys were coming up the walk, and there he'd be gutting the deer, skinning it or whatever. And he'd always look at it. And you got to remember his hands are covered in filth and muck and blood and whatever. And he would just look at him and go, "What do you want?" "Well, I'm here to pick up your daughter." "Okay, go over to the front door."
Knock 3 times, but not too hard.
How's that? That's funny stuff there.
Intimidating.
So yeah, you can send those out to us via Twitter hashtag What I Learned Today. All right, you ready for Skip's audio file?
It seems so often now that we end up playing audio or playing something from a politician that is horrible. The bottom of the barrel people we find in D.C. so often. We mock them, we make fun of them, we prove how wrong they are. Every once in a while, though, we do get a piece of audio from somebody who has pretty much gotten it right. Tom Coburn, the senator from Oklahoma, is retiring. He went to the speech. He gave a speech on the Senate floor, kind of his goodbye, and he says some very profound things. So I just want to play a little bit of ear candy for you. This is Tom Coburn with his last speech to the Senate floor.
Every member of the Senate takes the same oath. And here's where I differ with a lot of my colleagues. And let me read the oath to you, because I think it's part of our problem. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter, so help me God. Your state isn't mentioned one time in that oath. Your whole goal is to protect the United States of America, its Constitution, and its liberties. It's not to provide benefits for your state. That's where we differ. That's where my conflict with my colleagues has come. It's nice to be able to do things for your state, but that isn't our charge. Our charge is to protect the future of our country by upholding the Constitution and ensuring the liberty that's guaranteed there is protected and preserved.
Now, how about that? How often do you hear that type of realism, that type of authenticity from a member of Congress, let alone a senator? Somebody who's been there a while, too?
Wow. That's that's amazing.
I just want to play that one part quickly of the audio again, too. When he's actually breaking down, how many times do you see somebody on the Senate floor who is talking about their duties to state, to country, and they break down like this?
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely.
I mean, he's pained in there trying to make the point that, you know, what we're doing as a country, some of my fellow co-workers here in the Senate are wrong and getting it wrong, and his hope that somehow they'll find the light.
Yeah, I find it amazing that he has boiled it down to something so simple, and he's right. We've missed that. I mean, we ultimately know and understand and agree what he's talking about, but he really brought it down. What is your oath? What are you promising? In other words, what is your goal? What is your job as a senator? It's not to write budgets. It's not to pass laws. You say, well, they haven't done anything, pass laws. No, that's not your job. I mean, you can pass laws, but it's not required. Your job is to protect, preserve, and defend the Constitution. That's it. So if you're passing laws that don't do that, then you're actually in violation of your oath. But how wonderfully simple. He goes, your state isn't mentioned once. Doesn't mention your state by name, doesn't reference your state, where you're from. The same is true of the House, not representing your district. You're protecting, preserving, and defending the Constitution. There are some jobs you can do that you have the power to do, but your oath says it all right there. That should be your chief concern. You know, President Obama famously said one time about, well, the Constitution is a document of negative liberties, which doesn't even make sense. It's negative liberties. What an ass. But that's the whole point. You can and should and do have the right to do whatever you want unless is it in violation of somebody else's right or a stated law that is constitutional. And that's the point of the Constitution. It doesn't have to lay out everything you can do because you can do anything. This isn't a communist country. You're not a subject of a monarch who is divine. You are. You, as a man, as an individual, are blessed and have the same rights as anybody else. All men are created equal does not mean we all have the same abilities or we're all going to have the same outcome. It means, in the eyes of God, you have the same rights to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. That's it. That's the whole ball of wax, and that's why it's so important.
I mean, so many people, and Tom Coburn's the guy who did the pork book every year.
He did the pork book. He was the deficit hawk.
I mean, so few people out there truly get it right, and Thomas Coburn is one of those people who's done a really good job. The saddest thing to me about this entire piece of audio, the most heartbreaking thing, is the fact that he's not going to be part of the 114th Congress.
You know, the thing is,
losing him as a member of Congress.
Yeah, and it's probably time for him to go.
And
because even if you've done a great job, I don't want you there 50 years. I don't think you should. Tom's been there a long time.
He's been there since '95 too. So.
Okay, that's 20 years. I mean, that's quite a long time. All right, it's time for you to go. I mean, Tom,
you're
your
right.
track record is in the high 80s based on FreedomWorks rating,
and has always been pretty consistent. But you're right. It is probably time for him.
You know, he's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. You know what his nickname was in the Senate? Dr. No.
Oh, I did hear that. Yeah.
Do you know why? Because he always said no. Yeah, we have a bill that'll spend no. Yeah, but we really want it. No. Dr. No. God bless him. But Tom Coburn could be a senator for as long as he lives now. From a state like Oklahoma, and he has a successful track record. He is the incumbent for 20 years. Tom Coburn could be there until he looks like Robert Byrd. I mean Robert Byrd now, having been dead for years. Because Robert Byrd could still get elected even dead. He could be there. I don't know if he's that sick because he cited health concerns. If he's a little sick and just tired of it, whatever it is. But he could be there up until the day he died, even if that is 50 years from now. So God bless him. I wish you well, Tom. I wish more people understood what you just said.
Now I want to go ahead and juxtapose that with comments from somebody who's connected to another member of Congress.
See, you're gonna ruin this for me. I had a real warm, nice feeling about. Well, okay.
You're gonna feel pretty good after this too. Michael Steele is a spokesman for House Speaker John Boehner.
Hey, Michael Steele, the former head of the GOP?
No, this is somebody else. Right. However, he was caught on a hot mic.
I love the hot mics.
All right, so Michael Steele, he was giving a speech to some reporters too. Afterwards, he was talking to a couple of reporters too. Was a little frustrated about some of the way things were phrased in the statement.
He was just nicer about it.
Okay.
The way those
we asked these questions.
Okay. Those problems with this bill are.
Okay, what did he say?
All right, so now what's going on is he's coming up afterwards too and talking about the way these questions were worded was.
And this is the $1 trillion spending.
Yeah,
bill.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, this is people were asking about all the policy provisions that were part of the $1.1 trillion spending bill. He comes back and says the way these questions were worded was horse bleep.
Okay.
The way they were worded was horse bleep. You're the representative, the spokesman for Speaker John Boehner, and you can't handle reporters asking questions about the bill?
Wait a minute. You're being way too critical.
What do you mean?
I mean, haven't you slipped up when you were drunk? Haven't you said something you shouldn't?
Okay, you're
if
right.
You work for John Boehner, you're drunk.
That's a good point.
And I don't mean just based on the parties he's thrown. I think you get a high contact high off of the guy. I think he radiates such alcohol fumes based on the amount of alcohol that passes through his office and his liver. I think you get a contact buzz just being around him.
You're probably right on that, actually. Now we do have this quick hot mic moment, and we probably would have gotten some more, but somebody came to his aid. CNN's Dana Bash, whatever her name is, steps up and wants to remind us, hey, your mic is hot. When does a reporter ever have the spokesperson for a congressman and quickly tell them that they're on a hot mic so as not to incriminate themselves? Let me play a little more of this.
We asked these questions. Okay.
Those problems with this bill are very.
You okay that you're on the hot mic?
Down.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to protect you from yourself.
I'm just trying to protect you from yourself?
Are you okay that you're on a hot mic? Are you okay, Mike? Your mic is still hot. He's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. He says, I'm sorry. First of all, why is he apologizing for that? Then Dana says, no, it's okay. I'm just trying to protect you from yourself. And then everybody laughing.
What I thought was interesting as you're playing this is to see how after she says that, he concludes any other questions and walks away. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, and I'll walk away.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. Wow. I want to go and take just the Dana part, too, and amplify it so you can hear her a little bit better. After he is caught saying, the way these questions were worded is horse bleep, then Dana comes up.
You okay that you're on the hot mic?
Down.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to protect you from yourself.
I'm trying to protect you from yourself.
What she did there was probably very professional and very nice. She seems, based on that, like a very professional and nice person. Having said that, I will never forgive her for that. Because I want what was coming next that he didn't know. I want his off-the-record moments, because why is there off-the-record?
That's a good point. And you know what? If you believe that the questions worded were horse bleep, then respond to that. Actually, let's talk about that. How is it so? Why is it that there were reporters trying to get questions about why your boss voted for this bill anything horse bleep?
You know, years ago, I worked with a guy in Cleveland, a good guy, Chip Kulik, a newsman, when I worked on the air with Lanigan and Malone. And something was about to go down, and I can't remember what it was. He had exposed himself somehow. Like there was something on the air that was going to slip out that would have embarrassed him. Nothing offensive, but something kind of embarrassing. And I told him about it, and he was like, okay, let me first say thank you. I don't respect you, but thank you. He was very appreciative, but said he lost all respect that I didn't railroad him on the air and make a bit out of it. I would say the same thing about Dana Bash. You've probably done a very nice thing. You seem like a nice person. I will never forgive you for this.
Why? Who knows what could have been coming next?
All right, get a quick break in here. Back with some more of Skip the audio file next on the Morning Blaze.
Ladies and gentlemen, come one, come all. Gather round for the spectacular Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network. Now that you're up, time to get informed.
The Morning Blaze returns.
All right, I just tweeted out a picture of a special guest who's watching the program this morning. Cubby, he's up and watching the program.
Always nice to have a live audience.
And the picture that I just tweeted out, you can check out. I did not plant the copy of Glenn Beck's Dreamers and Deceivers next to him. It was actually on the table beside the chair he sat at.
I can confirm that. I can confirm that.
And I'm going to tweet out right now, getting ready to hit the button, hashtag what I learned today. At John Boehner's orange glow is just single malt scotch fumes emanating from his body. I think that's what it is.
I think so. MSNBC's Ed Show had a couple of guests on recently, and they finally got to the root of what's wrong with the black community.
They got to the root of what's wrong with the black community.
I mean, what's keeping them back? What's holding them back? The reasons they aren't able to go ahead and excel. And it comes from the hip-hop activist Rosa Clemente.
Who?
The hip-hop activist Rosa Clemente.
Okay, I don't know what any of those words mean.
I don't either, but let's just play the audio.
Clemente, the problem extends beyond police departments. What's the next institution that you think needs to be isolated and then challenged?
The economy, capitalism, I think that's the institution that all over this country, right, it is really what is the oppressive force. And the police are actually, in my opinion, and I think we have a lot of theory that proves this, are that force that are keeping us as particularly working class people from achieving this idea of, economic justice.
Yeah, it's capitalism that's holding back the black communities. If it weren't for that capitalism thing, blacks could succeed.
You know, I'm having a pretty good day today. I got to spend a few minutes unexpectedly with Cubby just now. It's Friday.
Your disposition changed a little bit.
I am selectively not hearing what just was said. It's battling up, and the little synapses keep bringing back what you just said with the
capitalism is the oppressive force that is holding back black people. We see it in the police. We see it in all our communities. If it weren't for capitalism.
You know what? I'm going to say this. I think capitalism is holding people back. Not just blacks, many people, blacks, white, and others. You know who it's holding back? Lazy people.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. You know who held back? Eric Garner, because he has asthma and he's lazy.
Right, according to his wife. That's what was holding him back. Yeah, listen, the people that are bitching about capitalism want free crap. Done. You want what somebody else has who has enjoyed the spoils of capitalism and hard work.
That wasn't the only guest, though. We have Georgetown professor Marcia Chetland was also on and goes on to help Rosa clean up her point.
But more than anything else, I think that one of the things that has come out of this moment is an incredible critique of capitalism that will always be tied to this moment, that it isn't just police brutality, it's the way that people are forced to live, like Ms. Clemente said. And so I can't wait to write this story, and I can't wait for my students to continue writing it.
The way people are forced, and again, this is coming from a professor at Georgetown. The way people are being forced to live right now, it's a great critique on capitalism.
Have these knuckleheads ever studied anything other than capitalism? What do you think's going to happen? Have you ever read Animal Farm? Have you ever read about the Bolshevik Revolution? Have you ever read about Marx, Lenin, any of these? It's not, oh, well, great, capitalism's gone, so everybody has it great. They don't have to sell loosies. It's true, you don't have to sell loose cigarettes under communism. You know why? Because there's no cigarettes. There's nothing but oppression, ragged, dark-colored clothing, and oppression, hunger, pestilence.
I did this to you, Doc. I'm sorry.
With Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network. And now, Doc Thompson presents the Friday Leftovers.
These are the great stories we didn't get to earlier in the week, so we will get to them now.
That's good.
Lots of them.
Nice.
Our first leftover. According to Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office arrest report...
Now, Palm Beach County, that is in what state?
Let me check. Hold on. Wait, hang on. Palm Beach County, Florida.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. According to their arrest reports, Daniel Gargalila and Michael Roqueford.
Sorry, the name?
Daniel Gargalila and Michael Roqueford, the two of them.
Okay.
Ended up in the back seat of a patrol car after deputies got a report of a suspicious person. While sitting in the back of the patrol car, they began to discuss their burglary and a possible alibi for their criminal activity. They freely spoke about these things, despite there being a camera pointed directly at them on the dashboard.
Well, we didn't know that it was actually recording.
There's a little more evidence, too, aside from their confession on camera.
Idiots.
Cops found drugs in their car, a burnt spoon for refining drugs, Louis Vuitton purses that they allegedly stole, drills. Part of criminal tools. Both face burglary charges, criminal mischief, and grand theft charges. All of them, and they are on camera confessing and looking for an alibi.
Was that wrong?
Well, it is if you want to be a professional criminal.
Okay.
Yeah, pro criminal tip number 387, avoid confessing your crimes to a police camera. Gonna want to not do that.
We would have also accepted it, and that's why they call it dope.
Out of Montana, a woman said she had allowed her ex-boyfriend to live with her even though they had broken up about 6 months earlier. When she returned home from visiting family members out of town, she noticed something odd when she was in the shower, a small hole right by the soap tray in her shower. So while she's showering, she's looking at that saying, I don't know, is there something wrong with my shower? And she looks a little closer and noticed there's a little camera in it. Now, remember, she had allowed her ex-boyfriend to continue to live with her even though they broke up. So she confronted him about it because nobody else has access to the house. And he had a very simple and good explanation for why there was a camera in her shower.
Security?
No, please. No one's going to buy that.
I'm just saying.
Security in
I'm
the
not
shower,
saying.
please.
I'm just saying.
No, he explained to her.
I saw Psycho.
He explained to her that he had installed the camera the day before to watch the chickens that he was cleaning in the bathtub, and he just forgot to remove it, you know.
Is that a euphemism?
No, he claims that he was actually scrubbing down some chickens, you know, in the shower and bathtub there, and he just forgot to remove the camera. Because, you know, you don't want to just put a camera in the bathroom if you were really filming chickens. You got to hide it from them.
Of course, the soap tray is the best place, too. Yeah. They'll never suspect the soap tray.
Chickens are brilliant. They would see a camera, and you wouldn't be able to wash them then. So you want to disguise it, little hole next to the soap tray.
Yeah, you can probably wash, but it's the scrubbing part that they get uncomfortable with.
I know you cannot use one of those teddy bear cameras. They're wise to that. I mean, when I wash chickens, they know the teddy bear cam trick. So you gotta drill a hole in the shower.
I mean, the iPhone's out at this point. They completely see through that one.
2 teenagers carjacked a vehicle in Houston. They ended up holding the car's owner at gunpoint for a while so he could explain to them. Let me start this over again. 2 teenagers carjacked a vehicle in Houston, and they ended up holding the car owner at gunpoint for a while so he could explain to them, Skip.
How to drive a Standard?
Yes, how to drive a stick shift. That's right.
Dude, I swear, that is the most effective anti-theft device on the market today is buying a manual transmission. That's not a joke. That's not us being yucks. The most efficient anti-theft device you can buy is a manual transmission for your vehicle.
I absolutely love it. Every time I see these, I laugh and laugh. After the driver provided a few instructions.
Why would he?
You know what I would do? I would give him bogus ones. I'm like, no.
No, you start at 6, and then
you work your way down.
Then you gotta rev the engine, then pop up the thing, and then get it from 6 to 5.
So
then go to R. I know it's weird. I know. Crazy metrics with the...
After he provided a few instructions, they ordered him out of the vehicle because now they're experts. They know how to do it. They were on their way.
They were apprehended a block away.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly
These
right.
stories are all exactly the same.
They just kept down the street like that, stalling it out. They took off on foot when the cops got him, but
how is that?
They got him on foot.
Such a totally foreign thing for people to do.
I guess.
I mean, I know more vehicles are being made automatic. I guess it's a natural transition.
Standards are probably
things.
Pretty rare now, except sports cars or something. Most people don't. I learned to drive one when I was a teenager. My dad made me.
I like driving them. I miss my old truck that had a stand.
I don't like them when you're stuck in traffic, but on a backcountry roads, you can that's fun. That's all right.
Good times.
Del Prairie, Wisconsin. 75-year-old John Presbala.
I'm sorry, John...
Presbala.
Okay.
He was stopped by cops after a deputy saw his truck cross the center line on State Highway 13, and that the truck had a broken tail light. So the officer stopped him. When the deputy ran his info, he noticed that John Presbala had been convicted of DUI in the past. 10 times. There was a strong smell of alcohol when he spoke to Mr. Presbala. And then he gave him a field sobriety test, and he failed. So he's been convicted 10 times of DUI. There was a strong smell of alcohol, and he failed a field sobriety test. So the deputy asked him, "Have you been drinking?" And John Presbala explained to the deputies that he had not been drinking. He had not been drinking.
No, he wasn't.
I mean, there was alcohol in his system, but he had not been drinking. He had been eating beer-battered fish that night.
Oh.
And the breath alcohol test showed that it was a .62, higher than the legal limit, and it was likely because of the beer-battered fish.
Wait, a .62?
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's like dead.
That's a lot of fish. He apparently had a lot of fish.
Wow.
Oh, 0.62, not 62. .062,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a lot of fish. I mean, a beer batter, if you're just getting it from there, that's...
That is, although .0, depending on the state, I think would be below the legal limit.
See, the beer was in the batter. That's the funny part there, that he claims he had just gotten it from the batter.
It's a lot of fish. That's a whole lot of fish you've been eating.
He was cited and scheduled to be in court January 21st. Out of the UK, 33-year-old Michael Hogg and 28-year-old Andrew Wood peeked into a house and spotted a couple of stacks of cash on the windowsill. someone they said, all right, we want that cash. Here's what we'll do. We'll just smash the window and we'll take it. So one of them smashed the window while the other one stood as a lookout to make sure no one was spotting him, smashing the window to get the stacks of cash on the windowsill. But an alert neighbor peeked out the window, saw him, and called the police. They ended up getting arrested as they fled the scene. They got convicted and sentenced to jail for a total of 7 years between them for smashing the window for the stacks of cash. Wow. That is a lot of jail time for tissues.
No, I don't think it was actually tissues.
No, actually it was tissues. They thought it was stacks of cash, but it was just novelty tissues that...
Oh, you're kidding.
Look.
Like those $100 bills. Oh, man. So also she's like shoving the chocolate bars in his bag. Oh, man.
I'm rich. I've got $100,000 bar. Ha ha.
Jeez.
They saw and this is in the UK, so it showed like British 50-pound notes
okay.
on it with the Queen and whoever's on it. There's two of them stacked there, two little tissues. They're like, wow, stacks of money just right on the windowsill. Ha ha! Crime blows.
Yes, it does.
All right, I'm going to get a quick break and we'll come back with more of our Friday leftovers in the Morning Blaze.
The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network. The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network.
Continuing our Friday leftovers, a Florida woman was arrested after getting into a fight with her twin sister over a vibrator and her boyfriend. Skip Lacombe, your thoughts?
I better not.
Cal, your thoughts?
I need my job, so no.
Okay, so
they were twins.
Yeah, she got into a fight with her twin sister over a vibrator and her boyfriend. Heidi Creamer.
Sorry.
I just took it off. Nope.
Heidi Creamer started fighting with her twin at about 1:30 or so in the afternoon over, quote, Heidi's boyfriend and a sexual toy. The verbal argument soon turned to blows. Creamer punched her sister in the face in the foyer of the apartment, knocking her to the floor. The victim then started kicking Creamer away, and as Creamer punched her, she scratched and pulled her twin's hair. Then Creamer began grabbing her personal belongings and stacked them outside the door. When Creamer exited the front door to place some more stuff out there, her twin slammed the door and locked her outside. When the deputy arrived on the scene, the twin sister was on the balcony with a bloody face, screaming for the neighbors to call the police. Creamer was banging on the front door, screaming obscenities and yelling at the officer. When the deputy read Creamer her Miranda rights, she began screaming that she was fighting with her sister over a vibrator and her boyfriend. She's being charged with domestic battery and was taken to the Manatee County Jail.
Now, are we sure that the vibrator and boyfriend aren't one and the same?
Perhaps we just move on.
I'll tell you, when the Creamer sisters get together, it's a party.
Oh, Cal?
Hamilton, Ohio, 32-year-old Virgil Wedmore entered a convenience store, pointed a gun at the clerk, and demanded money. He said, just do what I tell you. I don't want to hurt you. The clerk quickly handed him the money. Wedmore attempted to put the money in his bag, but he couldn't get the bag unzipped. He had it's stuck right here. Hang on. I'm going to put it, hold on.
Classic Virgil.
Finally, he forced the clerk to help him with the zipper.
Hey, can you hold this for just a second?
See, just pull right here. Pull it apart. It's stuck right there. He then fled on foot, but that extra time that he needed to get the zipper open allowed responding officers to arrest him while he was fleeing, and he was charged with aggravated robbery. How embarrassing. Have you no respect for your craft? Come on, man. Put a little planning into it.
I remember back in my day, criminals were well prepared, planned out. Think to Ocean's 11.
They respected their craft. I think that's the way to say it. They put some time and effort, right? Now everybody just thinks you run into a place.
Give me all your money. Damn it.
A Lakewood man is accused of drunkenly swapping furniture with his neighbor while they were gone. Here's how the cops say it went down. The Lakewood couple returned Monday to their apartment after being gone for the weekend. When they got there, they found a recliner and a TV stand that didn't belong to them, some empty beer bottles and pizza boxes. Meanwhile, their furniture was missing. It included a love seat, matching chair, an ottoman, a cushion-style chair, a king-size bed, and a carpet cleaning machine, plus pots, pans, dishes, and food. Tracking the thieves weren't that hard because one left a traffic ticket behind with his name and address and driver's license info on it.
Wow.
The other one left behind the pizza receipt that had all of his information on it. One man said he entered the neighbor's apartment because the door was open. He said the neighbor had mentioned that they were going to be moving, so he thought they had abandoned all of that stuff. They weren't there. It was open, so he said he drunkenly decided to switch it with him, and he called his buddy for help. So he thought they just abandoned it. How was I to know?
Oh, you wanted this stuff still? Your king-size bed and the food and the pots and pans?
Here's my thing. Do you still use that bed when you get it back?
How long did they have it?
It was all weekend. You see what I'm saying? It's not a definitive. Couch and chair, maybe, but do you use the bed?
Oh, I think if you, well, yeah, I don't know.
I know one thing. As I try to get my stuff back, I explained to the police officers how there was also $30,000 in cash missing, a couple of diamond rings, the necklace. I want to know where that stuff is.
Exactly.
So you got it. You
got to pad
you
it a
need
little
something
bit.
for your time and suffering here, right?
Throw some intellectual property in there too, like the plans I've been working on for my script. My manuscript is gone.
My cold fusion device, where is it?
It's valued at
the schematics
at least $200 million.
2 to 8.
Well, I just want to give him the low end. I don't want to.
I'm not trying to profit off of this thing. I just want it back. Our final leftover: 30-year-old Matthew Faulkner passed out drunk in the drive-thru of a Taco Bell.
Oh, jeez.
Faulkner had made it all the way to the restaurant in his Chevy pickup. He had placed his order and received his Taco Bell items before he fell asleep in the car, in park, with his foot on the accelerator. The manager called police because he was passed out cold in the drive-thru lane and was holding up customers behind him. In park with the...
But he'd gotten the food?
Yes. A deputy awoke Faulkner and asked for his ID. Faulkner said no, but then relented and eventually handed the officer a taco. Another officer said, "Hey, we're looking for an ID, not a taco." He just chuckled and began eating the taco. It was at this point that his truck caught fire because he had his foot on the accelerator.
Park and jeez.
Wow. Cops had to use fire extinguishers to put it out. Apparently, tacos are still not recognized as legal forms of ID in the state of Florida.
This is the Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson and Skip Lacombe, only on the Blaze Radio Network.
The collision of confidence and comedy. This is the collision of common sense and comedy. This is the Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip.
Why do we call it a spending bill? What did they say? It's a $1.1 trillion spending bill. It's not a spending bill. It's an overspending bill. No law from D.C. is ever a spending bill or spending law. They're always over, massively over, without exception. They're overspending bills. They don't appropriate money. They misappropriate money. Let's start calling it what it is. See, if you overspend habitually, that's misappropriating. It's borderline fraud, but it's definitely misappropriation. If you have a limited amount of money, which I'm guessing you probably do, and you have things that you would like to buy, but you constantly spend more, racking up more money than you could ever in multiple lifetimes pay off, aren't you misspending that money? Aren't you misappropriating your funds to things? There's no priority, no thought to it. Well, that's really what happened. Let's start calling it what it is. It's misappropriation, it's borderline fraud, it's certainly bad, and it's overspending. I've had enough of the overspend. Well, it's a spending bill that's $1.1 trillion. How much of that stuff do we actually need? Not $1.1 trillion of it. Unbelievable. I'm going to tweet out a link to the 67 Republicans who voted against the spending bill. It ended up being 219 to 206. 219 to 206. 67 Republicans voted against it. A whole lot of them voted for it. I'm going to tweet out a link so you can see how your representative or anybody else that you're interested in actually voted against it. First person I checked. Who do you think I checked first to see if they voted for it or against it?
Dave Bratt.
Yes, I did. First person I was like, Dave. He voted against it. All right. Good job, Dave. Good job.
Here's the deal. Because if Dave were to do something and vote us, like, the fire that would be fuming from you, I think would be...
I'd be done.
It'd be scary. Yeah, first of all, you'd be immediately off. He may become your enemy number one.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like,
After all that crap he said to us.
Mm-hmm. No, he voted against it. Good for you, Dave Brad. Good job. Also voting against it, some regulars that you would expect, Justin Amash, Michelle Bachmann, Marsha Blackburn, who doesn't get as much credit as she deserves out of Tennessee. She is solid on this stuff, and she voted against it as she should. Let's see, Tom Cotton. I'm trying to think of any other noteworthies. I mean, there's a lot of people. Steve King from Iowa.
Okay.
I think those are probably the big ones that most people know. Trey Gowdy. Oh, Jim Jordan out of Ohio, who is almost everybody in the Ohio Republican congressional delegation voted for it. John Boehner just pulled the strings and they all, okay, yeah, we'll vote for it. One of the few is Jim Jordan, who is quickly moving up my list. We met him over the summer.
Jim Jordan actually is one of those names too that a lot of people out there probably have not heard of. Somebody you should keep your eye on. He's been on our radar for a while. Mm-hmm. Seems like a really solid guy, and he'll go against the party. He'll go against the people, the establishment GOP mm-hmm. and Boehner.
Yeah, he's real solid. He is a Trey Gowdy type. You usually see good audio from him where he's giving people the business and congressional hearings. So I noticed that somebody voted for it that I expected to vote against it. There's a congressman from southwestern Ohio, Brad Wenstrup is his name. I first met Brad, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, speaking at a Tea Party type event. It was a Tea Party type event at a private home, and a bunch of people in there. I think it was a lot of conservative Jewish people. At least I think the guy's home we were at was Jewish, and then he had some Jewish friends and others as well. But they had him over and wanted to hear his thoughts on a lot of different things. I heard him speak, heard his background, became aware of him, and was like, wow, this guy is really solid. I mean, he is spot on. He's a doctor. He's a business owner. He served multiple tours. I think in Iraq was like the chief of surgeon in one of the tours or something. I mean, spot on, says the right thing, does the right thing. And he beat an incumbent who had made some really bad votes. Jean Schmidt is her name. And he won the primary, heavily Republican district. Sure enough, it was like Dave Bratt beating Eric Cantor. As soon as you win the primary, it's over. And he has been a congressman for a couple times. And I like Brad Wenstrup. And I saw he voted against this and was, how can I put this, pissed off. I was pissed off. Really, really angry because he knows better. Brad Wenstrup knows better. So I looked up his FreedomWorks score. Now, he's only been in a handful of years. I think maybe, is it 4 now? I think he's already been a second term. Anyway, his lifetime score with FreedomWorks in that short period of time is 79%. Now, that's not horrible. It's a high C. It's not horrible. But it's not what I would expect from a guy that I met that is a business owner and a doctor and is a veteran and, again, saw him at Tea Party events and says and does and supposedly the right thing, 79%. It's like, wow, that's really low. I'm really disappointed that it is so low. Again, not horrible, but okay. So out of curiosity, I looked up Jean Schmidt, the person that he beat in the primary, what her lifetime score was, because her name was mud. I mean, he and others, and myself included, were bagging on her for some really bad votes, spending votes, right? Her lifetime, 82%. So while Brad Wenstrup rightfully beat her up for some bad votes and campaigned against her, she could do better. He was right. 82%, sorry. That's a fail to me. In politics, you either do the right thing or you don't. I will give you a 10% margin. I don't like it, but I'll give you 10%. I'll give you 90% because nobody's perfect and we're not going to agree 100%. I get that. But if I start out expecting 90% from you, I end up with 40%, like Eric Cantor or something. So I will reluctantly, when it's all said and done, if you're 90%, I will grit my teeth and say, okay. He challenged her for 82%, and since he's been in, his rating is 79%. You can't even argue, well, she was at 40%, so I'm at 79. I am so disappointed in Brad Wenstrup. Sorry. And like I said, Brad is a nice guy. I've known him. I had high hopes for him, and I welcome him on the program if he wants to explain this. I feel like he has been influenced by the dark side and John Boehner. I think that he's just playing the political game. Well, you don't understand I admit.
Well, I think it's clear he's been influenced by Boehner at this point. The reason really is why, though? Why? What is Boehner talking to you? I mean, what is making you go back on your beliefs, your thoughts about business, about life, about how our country should operate? What has changed?
I had talked with somebody who knows him, and this person is fairly close with him, Brad Wenstrup, and this person had said to me we've met him at multiple conventions and stuff, run into him. Real good guy who gets it, is 100% dyed in the wool like us. And he said, I've challenged him on a couple of these votes when I've talked to him. And he's like, well, there's more to it, and there's some other things, and you got to consider. And I'm like, when he told me that a year or so ago, I was like, okay, that doesn't sound good. And I remember there were a couple of votes that were not great by him, and I was like, well, okay, but now you're at 79% and you voted for this bill? I mean, Justin Amash has a 100% rating. He voted against it. What does he know? What did Justin Amash get wrong, Brad Wenstrup? What did he get wrong in this? What did Dave Bratt get wrong?
Well, Jim Jordan, you should probably know Jim pretty well, too. He's right in your right, far from where you live.
Right, exactly. Brad Wenstrup's district, I think, is right next to John Boehner's, and then Jim Jordan might be one away to the north. It's very close. They're all within an hour drive of each other.
I don't know exactly how it lays out either, but that's
an hour or so drive. And like, what did they get about this? What did you see, Brad Wenstrup, or others who voted for this, that you say, hold on, Jim Jordan, Justin Amash, Dave Bratt, hold on, Steve King. Hold on, Trey Gowdy. Wait a minute. Here's why we have to vote for this.
And if that's the case, you're welcome on this program. Any of the people who voted for this and says, you know what, Doc, you know what, Skip, no, you're wrong on this. Let me explain to you why we needed to go ahead and get this out there. You are welcome to the show.
Explain it. But they likely won't, because they know I'm going to ask them the tough questions. You have failed here. I found this out this morning, where I would have already called Brad and said, will you come on?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I didn't even think about it.
I mean, he may be willing to. I know Boehner won't. But what did these others, what did you see that they didn't? What in it said, hold on? I don't think you realize how the powerful good this will do.
And here's the thing. I mean, if that's the case, you guys should be knocking down our door to tell us about it. Why you say, no, guys, you got it wrong. No, let me tell you why.
That's a great point.
Let me come out and tell you why. No, not hiding behind John Boehner's coattails.
You know what, Skip?
Come out and actually tell us why.
That is 100%. Why isn't John Boehner this morning calling me and saying, how dare Dave Bratt not vote for this? Do you know the good this will do? Whereas Brad Wenstrup and others saying, I don't think you understand it. Justin Amash was wrong for this reason and this reason. I know why many people voted for this. Number one, John Boehner and leadership told them to. Number two, their own personal political careers because John Boehner told them to, or the people that pour money into their campaigns. Number three, they're worried about shutting down the government and looking bad, which, as somebody pointed out yesterday, who was it that pointed out yesterday that it was so horrible they shut down the government last time?
Yeah, one of our tweeters.
That they ended up, winning the Senate and increasing the lead in the House. But ultimately, even if you're concerned with that, you're still concerned with your own career. Instead of saying this is a bloated bill, it's overspending, it's misappropriation, it's money on things we don't need that we can't afford to people that aren't even in America. And some people who break our laws. It violates their own procedure of posting a bill for 72 hours before they're going to vote on it. They violated their own spending limits. All of this. And the best I've heard from some people is, well, like Pete Sessions in Florida, we got to do this now, but we'll tackle all of those things after the first of the year. Let me help you out. I have heard from another person who knows somebody who knows a guy who said he saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night, and leadership already has begun corralling the new crop of congressmen and telling them, here is our agenda for the coming years. And that agenda has nothing to do with stopping the president, stopping infringement of personal freedom, stopping Obamacare, stopping illegals, defunding any of those things. Their priority is going to be tax reform, which you go, oh, great, excellent, tax reform. Good. What do you, fair tax, flat tax? No. Tax reform for businesses, for big business. And while that may help us a little bit, what essentially they're saying is we only care about big business, people who are pouring money into our campaigns. Do you need more proof after yesterday, what we shared with you is in the bill, and today? Do you need more proof how wrong this bill is? President Obama has joined John Boehner and the GOP to support this bill. Did you know that?
I didn't see that.
Oh, he came out. Right on. I ride with the GOP on this.
Anytime the left and the right agree on an issue in D.C., they're screwing you.
Yeah. Listen, you're always getting screwed in D.C. by both the Democrats and Republicans. But when they agree on something, they are really screwing you and really benefiting themselves. We had some calls coming up on the Broad Voice studio line. This is the Morning Blaze.
The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network.
This is the Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson and Skip Lacombe, part of the next generation of talk radio.
Broad Voice studio lines open, 888-900-3393, or you can tweet at the show. It's at Skip Lacombe or at Doc Thompson Show. We had Nathan tweeting at us, keep your eye on Rep. Mark Meadows. He voted no and is the real deal.
Where's he out of?
He is out of the 11th District of North Carolina.
Okay, North Carolina, 11th, Mark Meadows. Let me make a mental note of that. Okay.
Yeah, I followed him. I'm going to follow up, see if we can maybe get him on the air and see if he's a good guy. Also, Adam tweeting at us what I learned today. If nobody videotaped the Creamer fight, you're doing it wrong. It's a good point. Twins.
If you missed our
fighting over a man and
well, if you missed that story in our Friday leftovers, you can listen to it anytime. Just go to the blaze.com/doc. All of our shows are posted to blaze.com/doc anytime, and it's absolutely free. All right, let's go to the Broad Voice studio lines, 888-900-3393.
We have David in Florida.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, gentlemen, good morning. I just had a quick question maybe you could answer for me, because obviously I'm not smart enough. If we can afford a $1 trillion spending bill, why can't we afford a $100 trillion spending bill? It's kind of like the minimum wage argument. There's no argument saying that if we can afford a $10 minimum wage over a $7.50 minimum wage, we should just go with a $100 minimum wage. If we can afford $1 trillion.
Or a 10,000. Wouldn't those people like 10,000? You know what? You are absolutely right, Dave. If you're telling us that $18 trillion in debt won't hurt us and continue to overspend the way they have, then what is their limit? Because you're doing it wrong. If this won't hurt us, why haven't they spent $400 trillion? I mean, they could spend $400 trillion and buy all of us a $2 million house, right?
Absolutely. If you guys could do me a favor, when you get one of these representatives on, and when they explain to you why this $1 trillion bill was such a good idea, ask them why they're lowballing us.
That is brilliant, Dave. That is absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing today. You're right. If this doesn't hurt us, how come you haven't spent $20 trillion on this bill and put in there free bacon for life for Doc? How come Skip doesn't have 14 new cars and a $2 million house? How come everybody doesn't have just gobs of cash? I mean, why are we all working if by their argument, $1 trillion in new spending or 18 over, how come this doesn't bother us? If it doesn't bother us, how come you haven't done more? Wow.
And furthermore, why won't you defend it? If it's such a good plan, why won't you come on? I'm going to be reaching out actually all weekend to many people who voted for this. Let's see if I can find anybody for Monday who's willing to defend their vote.
Okay. In case, do you need any more proof this was a bad bill? You probably don't, but I'm going to give you some more. There's a small group of Republicans led by a rep out of Maryland named Andy Harris that inserted a rider into this spending bill. Now, everybody was so hot to pass this thing that they likely are not going to poo-poo it because of this rider. And the rider restricts spending in the city of Washington, D.C. for the purpose of legalization of pot. See, D.C. voters during the midterm election overwhelmingly approved Initiative 71. Overwhelming support. And it legalizes possession of small amounts of marijuana. Now, don't start doing I think it should be outlawed. This is not a marijuana debate. This has nothing to do with that. This group of Republicans that are not from Washington, D.C., inserted something into a spending bill that restricts the implementation of a law that the voters of a city overwhelmingly supported. They are usurping the will of the people because they don't like the legalization of marijuana, what the bill is. See, it doesn't matter what you think about pot or what the bill is. This isn't about that. This is about the will of the people. As long as something the people want is constitutional, the people have spoken. Andy Harris said, relaxing laws clearly leads to more teenage drug use. I don't give a flying fig if they do.
I mean, if this isn't 1984, Brave New World, George Orwell coming down, I don't know what is.
Here's a metric to check yourself to see if you really believe in personal freedoms and really believe in the Constitution. If you are somebody that is against the legalization of marijuana and you say this is wrong what they're doing, you get some respect from us.
The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network. $888-900-3393. The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip.
Well, a lot of people are talking, understandably, about the overspending bill, the $1 trillion overspending bill. Congress is about to renew yet another expiring corporate welfare program. It's called TRIA. It is corporate welfare, and it's wrong. It stands for Terrorism Risk Insurance Act, or TRIA. TRIA works by essentially providing government reinsurance for property insurers that cover damages from terror attacks. So what this does is the insurance company that insures your business against a terror attack then gets to basically get government reinsurance. So they're just a middleman for government insurance. So the insurance companies continue to reap the full premiums for all of the damages they cover. The insurance companies are guaranteed, though, that the government will pay a certain portion of their payouts in the event of a major terror attack. Effectively, TRIA is a bailout for insurers in the event of a terror attack. So they are in little fear. This is like me saying, okay, Skip, I want you to buy insurance for me for your house in case it burns down.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You pay me all the premiums.
I want insurance.
And if nothing happens, I just keep collecting all that money.
Yeah,
if you don't ever have a claim.
I know, that's insurance though. You know,
wait a minute, you had a fire?
I did, yeah. So I'm going to need to go ahead and
I can't pay it. But I have insurance from the government. They're going to pay you.
Well, no, why am I paying you monthly premiums then?
Because I'm your insurance company.
Okay, then why aren't you paying me?
Because I have insurance from the federal government.
Why the hell am I paying premiums and taxes? And you pay taxes on your premiums.
Right. So here's what's going on. You're paying your tax dollars to the federal government. Then they use your tax dollars to pay off your claims if you have a fire, or in this case it would be a terror attack. It's called TRIA. And all it is a big company, big business, corporate welfare program. And they justified this after 9/11 by saying, ooh, World Trade Center hit. That's going to be a big payout. That's going to be a really big payout we have to do. And it was meant to be temporary. But like all bad programs in the government, there is no temporary. It's, isn't that the Reagan's the closest thing to eternal life? A government program, spending program. Look it up. That's happening too. TRIA. So where are the Republicans? Where are the Democrats about this? Have you heard anything else about TRIA? And it will just get rubber stamped. Hell, they may have included in the $1 trillion spending bill. I know they were working on it. They love to throw things in there. It may have already passed. But I know a couple of days ago they were still working on it. TRIA. Rubber stamped. Your tax dollars go to pay insurance company premiums in the event somebody claims a terror attack.
Man, what a business model, though. Imagine if you could apply that business model to other facets. Say you want to open a restaurant. You know what? And say, we're going to go and provide you with some sort of an insurance that in case you don't get all the people you need in here today to go ahead and buy your foods, we're just going to go ahead and cover the rest of it for you.
Hey, that's what happened with Obamacare. That is kind of part of Obamacare. Why do you think that some of those insurance companies that were fighting so hard against Obamacare all of a sudden went, okay, we're in?
Once they realized how good it was going to be for them.
But remember, it's not good for all insurance, just the ones that are part of the government clique. See, when a government regulates an industry, they don't kick out all people. There are some people that will be allowed to operate within that. All it does is get rid of their competition. So, yeah, it's bad if you've got a lot of people, that are part of this, but if you are one of the ones that are still there able to operate, then all they did was kill your competition. This is like Skip's House of Flapjacks doing battle every day with Doc's House of Hotcakes and Cal's House of Pancakes. We're all doing battle. The government comes in and says, we're going to regulate the breakfast restaurant industry. And we're all like, how dare you? I don't want you to do this, telling me what to do, and you're hurting my business, and my prices are going to go up and everything. And then one day, Skip's House of Flapjack says, wait a moment. Somebody's going to be around after it. What they're going to do is regulate out my competition. So while I'll have to deal with extra government BS, I'll be assured I won't have any competition. I'll be able to grab part of their market share. So what happens? Doc's House of Hotcakes has to go under. Cal's House of Pancakes goes under. Standing alone, operating within the government system, protected from any competition in an anti-free market way is Skip's House of Flapjacks. That's what's happened here.
Good for Skip's House of Flapjacks, but it's wrong.
Well, yeah, especially because they're not nearly as good as Cal's Pancakes.
No, well, come on. Skip's House of Flapjacks are far superior to Cal's.
We'll never know, will we? Not now, not with big government.
It's ridiculous.
45-year-old Regina Shaw lost her job, sadly, and is now facing criminal charges, sadly, for allegedly stealing a whole bunch of sausage from her employer.
Stealing sausages?
Sausage. She allegedly stole $6,400 worth of sausage.
$6,400 worth of sausage?
That's a lot of kielbasa.
Yes, it is. Okay. So, Skip, average price of breakfast sausage.
Probably about $5, $6.
4, 5, 6, depending on where you get it, somewhere in there. Let's say 5 for easy math. That's 1,200 pounds of sausage. What's the average price of kielbasa? And I don't mean in San Francisco.
Probably between 10 and 15-ish, somewhere.
Okay, so let's say $13.
Okay.
Let's say 13. That's 500 pounds of kielbasa. How are you able to carry this?
One link at a time.
I see what you did there.
That's exactly it.
An arrest affidavit stated that that a representative of the company Kielbasa, Kiolbassa.
I don't know how to say that. Yeah, Kielbasa.
Kielbasa Company called the San Antonio Police Department and said that this woman, Regina Shaw, had been caught on surveillance camera September 14th taking a pallet of company product without their permission.
like the lift push thing?
I guess even 500 pounds. Well, I guess a truck would be able to carry 500 pounds. But when you start getting to, if it was a cheaper sausage, 1,200 pounds, 1,500 pounds, I don't think a lot of pickups are going to be able to do that. It's going to be like a lowrider, right? Smashing it down. I guess one of the big ones could, but yeah, she stole a pallet of sausage. Valued at $6,400. The company stated that a man who saw Shaw had sold him some of the stolen product on one occasion. She was apparently reselling this stuff. Now, at least it wasn't just for her home use. I mean, that's a lot of sausage for home use.
I mean, if it's good sausage, though.
Yeah, but I mean, does it keep that? I guess you could freeze it, but that's still a pallet of it. Do you have a freezer that big?
Well, I don't know. I guess depending on what kind it was, it could have been cured in a way that doesn't need to be preserved with cold
true,
or
I guess.
freeze.
Hey, kids, guess what's for dinner again?
No, sausage.
Sausage.
Oh.
We had that 4 times yesterday.
For the past 12 years.
12 years, it's sausage again. I'm looking at this company. Yeah, it does look like kielbasa. Ooh, it looks like premium kielbasa.
Yeah, honestly, I've pulled up the website. They've got a bunch of pictures on it.
Kielbasa, Kiolbassa.
It almost looks like it'd be like coilbasa or something. Almost like foil, but I don't know how to.
Beef soaked sausage.
Chorizo, natural smoked sausage.
Oh, they have chorizo. Oh, jalapeno and cheddar smoked sausage.
Oh, natural roasted garlic smoked sausage.
Mesquite smoked. Have you had mesquite?
Oh, man.
Mesquite smoked meats. Oh, my golly, this looks good.
Dude, and the roasted garlic is a steal. 3 pounds for $13.49.
I think we found somebody for our Building America segment.
Yeah, I'm on it. You think I'm kidding? Contact us.
Cal, have you, do you like the sausage? Do you eat the sausage?
I'm not really, you guys obviously like the sausage, but...
hey, this is it. You can admit. You come out of the sausage closet, admit you eat sausage.
I'm not really big on sausage, to be honest with you. I'd rather, if I'm going to have meat, I'd rather have a piece of steak or something.
Kielbasa crock pot quinoa with vegetables.
Oh, man.
Of course, sausage and sauerkraut. They have a bunch of recipes up there. Yeah, this is Kielbasa.com. Kiolbassa.com. You want to check it out.
I'm going to tweet a link.
Wow.
Looks good.
I understand why she sold the sausage.
Dude,
I'm not justifying it, but
man,
think about this. If I worked at a bacon factory, I don't know if I could be around that level of temptation every day.
Oh, I know I couldn't. There's no chance. If I happen to get a part-time job at Mark Baker's Green Acres up there, I got to tell you, I'm occasionally walking out with a pork belly under my belly.
Now, some companies will have you go through a metal detector and open your bag or something as you leave. If you work at a sausage or a bacon plant, do they have dogs? Do they have the
I was just thinking, how would you do that? But you're right, it probably would be an animal.
You do the dogs and you're going, okay. All right, here's the deal. You don't rat me out, Fido, and I throw you some on the way out. I'll throw some over the fence tomorrow night at your house.
I got 800 pounds. I got plenty, man.
Listen, I'll work with you here. Oh, they would cuff and stuff us. Tell us what you've learned along the way on Twitter. It's at Doc Thompson Show and at Skip Lacombe. Cal is at KAL79. Is Aaron or Rick in today? I didn't even notice.
Actually, we got Rick today.
Oh, it is at the welding room for Rick. You can use the hashtag What I Learned Today. This is the Morning Blaze.
The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network. Morning Blaze returns. Here's Doc and Skip.
All righty, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, the end of the show. But before, as always, damn it, I still haven't got that right.
It's okay, man.
But as always, before we go, let's find out what we learned today. We learned 2 pieces of beer-battered fish equals 1 shot of Jose Cuervo.
I think so, yeah.
We learned pro-criminal tip number 387, avoid confessing your crimes to a police camera.
387?
We learned crime blows. We learned John Boehner's orange glow is just single malt scotch fumes emanating from his body. We learned chickens are camera shy, or chicken.
I see what you did there.
Finally, we learned that tacos are still not recognized as legal forms of identification in the state of Florida.
Sadly. Maybe someday.
Someday. Skip Lacombe, what, if anything, did you learn today?
We learned never send cash through the mail. Yes, Grandma, even for Christmas. We learned Cal thinks finding a pin used by Sam Adams would be completely worthless.
Yeah, exactly. It's really sad.
We learned if it weren't for the oppressive chokehold of capitalism, Eric Garner would still be with us today. We learned the most effective vehicular anti-theft device on the market is a manual transmission. And finally, we all learned Wisconsin has introduced tequila-infused beer-battered drunken fish.
Spectacular.
And
Try
it
some.
It is delicious.
Al, spinning the dials radio style in New York City this morning. What, if anything, did you learn today?
I learned my addition to the Internet's acronyms is GTFAFMD. Get the F away from my daughter.
Boom!
Added O and E with or else. I learned that one day, hundreds of years from now, historians of the future will base their entire civilization on a 2-for-1 drink special from Joe's Chicken Shack waffle menu. And finally, I learned that the next pay-per-view event will be Creamer versus Creamer. Good vibrations.
Wow.
Wow.
That's upper level.
I see what you
That's
did
a
there.
good one. I like
What,
it.
if anything, did Rick learn answering the Broad Voice studio lines today?
Rick learned Doc prefers a stick for the dark country roads. Coincidentally, so do the amazing Creamer twins. That's going to be troubling for you.
All right, what, if anything, did the listeners learn today?
Blah, blah, blah learning.
Love the blah, blah, blah.
If you cast Lois Lerner in a Disney movie, she's likely to wear a Dalmatian coat. A little Cruella action. From Rhino season, neither rain nor sleet.
Lerner DeVille.
Lerner DeVille, there it is.
Lois DeVille.
From Rhino season, neither rain nor sleet nor dead of night will keep a postal worker from stealing your birthday money. Or Christmas money.
True.
James in Alabama learning the full story of Pontiac is buried in a time capsule somewhere. All you gotta do is find it. I'll come clean.
I'm sorry?
From Jeff Jeffrey, forget the gods of copybook headings. Future wisdom will be derived from the war hero General Mills.
The war hero General.
That's good.
Wait, read that again.
From Jeff Jeffrey, forget the gods of copybook headings. Future wisdom will be derived from the war hero General Mills.
That is absolutely brilliant.
Very good.
Really sharp, man. General Mills. He was quite the hero.
It was amazing.
Yeah, the Battle of the Bulge, I think.
I can't say
At least that's where I have trouble with the Battle of the Bulge. General Mills.
There it is. From Justin, since when does CNN care about hot mics? They never stopped Piers Morgan. That's good, too. From Kathy in the Bird, capitalism keeps thieves from prospering beyond robbing dumb people who vote for them.
Yep.
It's true.
Yep.
From David, it's not a shower, it's violence.
It's not a shower, it's violence.
It's not hygiene, it's violence. From Jeff, I learned that I'm too stupid to understand 1.1 trillion. Hashtag Grubert.
Yeah.
And finally from Donna, some women need more sausage than others. Others were thinking it. I just typed it.
Oh.
Good morning.
Hey, I'm sorry to get those new numbers on procrastination, but those are coming up Monday morning. The new numbers on procrastination.
Exactly.
What does Glenn Beck have coming up on his national radio show immediately following ours on the Blaze Radio Network?
More on trivia's coming up.
Oh, it is Friday. What is Glenn wearing today?
He's clearly in full ugly Christmas sweater holiday mode.
He's gone full bore. It's that time of the year. All right. Remember, the official coffee of the Morning Blaze, American Pride Roasters. Please do us a favor and try American Pride Roasters at AmericanPrideRoasters.com. It's great coffee and good people. All right, that's it. Remember, this program is a Skip Lacombe Today RIP production. 6 Semper Tyrannis. Good night, Steve Cannon. Wherever you are. Anya, now, you go home. Oh, just like that, it's Friday.
I know. It's a good week.
The Morning Blaze with Doc and Skip on the Blaze Radio Network.